Hey, super dope. Happy Wednesday afternoon. Just a little afternoon now. Got to get this thing out to you guys shortly. Sorry, it's taken a little bit longer to get this one done today. Um, I've had a very busy last 10 days, 2 weeks or so stretch of time. What with the roommate moving out and just getting my apartment resituated. Also launching the business and, the websites, pitching new clients. It's been a busy 2 weeks, but a great 2 weeks. Anyway, this one's a little late. We recorded Monday night. It's a really long episode. This is our chapter 66 review for Dragon Ball Super Moro Consumer of Planets. This one is me and Leonard break it down each month, and we invite our patrons to come sit in. This month we're joined by Marcus and Reece. Long episode, great episode, very fun. 90 minutes of action-packed laughs aplenty, for sure. So, real quick, before we get to the episode, there was one piece of Dragon Ball news that came out last week that did not come up in our conversation until after we stopped recording for the public cut, and Reece brought it up and said, "Hey, did you hear? Kirby Moro passed away, the voice actor for Goku." And I had heard about it, but it just didn't come up organically in our conversation. I should have been something I'd written down. He passed away, I think it was last Thursday, so about a week ago now, at the age of 47. His brother announced it via a Facebook post and basically said, "Hey, my brother's passed away, and that's all the information I've got. No clear cause of death indicated at this point." So for Dragon Ball fans, he is the guy who voiced Goku in the Ocean dubs. So the other English-speaking countries in the world, Canada, Australia, European English-speaking countries, from episode 160 on of Dragon Ball Z back in the day, Kirby Moro was likely the guy that you were listening to as the voice of Goku, not Sean Schemmel. That's when Funimation basically stopped working with Ocean Dubs, took their productions in-house, and moved things to Texas. Ocean Dubs continued to, localize it in English for other countries, and Kirby Moro was the guy from episode 160 through the end of Z. I didn't realize that he had a lot of acting roles, not only just in voice acting, but, on television as well, physical acting. I guess his most notable of which was Captain Dave Kleinman in Stargate Atlantis. I think Carlton liked that show because he likes all the Stargate stuff. But he did, English dubs for Inuyasha. He was the voice of Cyclops on X-Men Evolution. I guess he also had recurring roles on The Good Doctor, Legion, Supernatural, and The L Word. So obviously a very accomplished actor, a very notable career. Terrible loss, 47 years old, man. If we get any kind of indication as to what happened, I'll be sure to give you guys the update if I hear it. Man, it's terribly sad. Oh shit, he even worked in the superhero world as well. Supergirl, Arrow, and The Flash. His Supergirl character, Officer Petrocelli, appears in 3 episodes. Huh, man. He also was, I guess, the voice in Ninjago. And then Lego Ninjago? Is Lego Ninjago? I don't know. It's sad. Rest in peace, Kirby Moro, age 47, man. Terrible. So, here comes the Chapter 66 review with Leonard, Marcus, and Reece. Hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving. Be safe if you're going to your, family stuff. Wash your fucking hands. Don't be making out with your cousins because generally frowned upon. Never mind during the Corona times. Hope you guys enjoy the episode. Talk with you next week. I think maybe we'll have Goshen. I think if not, maybe NDL. If you don't know who NDL is, you will. You will. Talk to you soon. Super dope. Welcome into Dragon Ball Super Dope. Thank you for checking this out. My name is Kyle. I am joined today for our monthly Dragon Ball Super Manga breakdown by my friend, co-host Leonard. Leonard, what's up, my friend?
Oh, just everything. I can finally read again, so very happy
Yo,
about that.
did you lose your ability to read briefly?
Nah, it was just some laws that were passed that they didn't allow us to read, but now I can, so.
It's always about those 3/5 jokes with you, man, making me feel very self-conscious right out the gate.
Well, hey, man, I'll tell you what, I'm there for three-fifths of the podcast, so.
Jesus Christ. It's funny because it's true. All right. So typically, what me and Leonard try to do each month is we will sit down with, or we extend the invitation to the people who support us on Patreon to sit in on the conversation, and I try to get some questions out to them a little beforehand, so that way they got some time to put together their thoughts and basically weigh in on each chapter month to month. If you want to get in on that Patreon deal, go do that. It's patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. Most recently joined people. One of them is joining us today. Marcus Woods. How are you, brother?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Long time supporter of the show. It's good to see your face and hear your voice, dude.
It's great to be here, fellas. It's definitely
It's
a long time coming.
Yeah, for sure. We were talking before the show started. If you want to get a little bit of the pregame, this story is not included because I didn't do the pregame as long as I normally do. However, Marcus gave us a good story on how he initially found the podcast, and he's been around since seemingly month one. And we love and appreciate his continued support and him joining that Patreon. So he's joining us today. Additionally, we did have someone else joining the last week, Tyson. I'm saying it like this because I want to believe in my brain that you are related to the current bass player of Metallica, Tyson Trujillo. Trujillo, not Trujillo, it's Trujillo. Tyson, tell me I'm right in your pronunciation and that maybe, just maybe, you have an Uncle Rob. Thank you for joining in on that $5 tier. He actually did join Roshi's Secret Stash as well, our Facebook group. Got in some answers about this chapter for the questions that I have for you guys today. So I'll be reading Tyson's answers and a couple of answers we got. My buddy Craig weighed in, kind of beefed with my buddy Ryan about Vegeta a little bit. Don't don't do stupid things. So chapter 66, Moro, Consumer of Worlds. We had a lot of leaks come out last week, so much to the point that it almost made my podcast a null and void within a couple of hours of being released because they just kept releasing more and more leaks for this chapter. So we did have a pretty good idea on what was going to transpire. As I said, though, there's usually a couple of things that they hold back, and there has to be a reason for you to actually read the chapter, right? So the few things that they did hold back, I think, and that we saw eventually in the full chapter, it kind of salvaged things for me. Overall, I think, I don't know, I think maybe I'm just really happy to get to the conclusion of this arc and move on to something new because this shit's been dragging for a few months now. Overall thoughts of the chapter before I get into the individual questions, Leonard?
Just, just glad that's kind of over. Excited to see what the new chapter will bring.
That's what she said. Marcus?
Yeah, I'm kind of with him. I'm ready to move on. I think this has been a little bit too far, a little too drawn out. Tried to one up themselves just a little bit too much. I'd like to be able to move on to something else, let them reset, and get some new, fresh ideas going.
They're always trying to kick up the stakes by just recycling shit they did within the last 30 years at some point. So chapter opens. We have full on Earth Moro. Like he is part of the dirt, the soil, the earth itself. He is the earth, and he is now draining the energy from everybody on Earth. It's confirmed when everyone, Gohan, Vegeta, Krillin, everyone's like, man, my body feels real heavy. And it's because he's draining their body because they're standing on the earth. So they float up in the air to try to, help negate that a little bit. Earth Moro, though, I'm not. I think they compared this design to some Naruto stuff. I could be wrong. Leonard, you let me know. But um, some people love this design and thought it was like grotesque and cool and scary in a cool way. And then other people did not feel that way. They felt that it was stupid and grotesque and unnecessary and over the top for no reason. So I'll pose the questions to you guys. Earth Moro, cool or not cool?
So I guess the thing that I could see where it's like Naruto fans would get upset. I mean, I haven't really heard many Naruto fans talk about how this kind of copies Naruto, but the way that I think of it, it's probably when it was Naruto versus Gaara, and Gaara is like part sand, part human type of thing, because his inner beast Shukaku was like coming out of the earth from his own sand. So
Shukaku sounds dirty.
it does, and let me tell you, get some sand in your pants. You're gonna have a Shukaku time. But I digest. I mean, digress. I think it was very interesting because I mean, of course, seeing last chapter, chapter 65, um, just the fact that he decided to become the Earth, I was like, I have not seen that in a Dragon Ball, like anything. So that's
We've definitely been
interesting.
we've definitely seen instances of the villain having to take over a more powerful host or whatever.
Yeah,
um I think automatically of Baby taking over
yeah,
Saiyan bodies and through GT for sure. Like, I'm sure there are other examples that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but the idea that he's got so much power overflowing through him that the only vessel large enough for him to be able to contain all of that power, and even then, it's going to destroy the Earth, and it at that point probably the entire galaxy. Um, the Earth being the only vessel, I guess, made sense, but I, I don't know. Like I don't know. I guess visually, just like his face being like this big rocky mud thing, like it just was so off-putting. Like they could have very easily done a thing where like he's proportionally like the same kind of fighter, but like his fucking feet are connected to the earth at all times, or like some part of him is connected. Like they could have done a million different things. I guess I just don't like the visuals of it. Marcus, what do you feel about this, man? Cool or not cool on Earth Morrow?
Yeah, I think the concept, I think that could have worked. The execution is lacking at best. Uh, I don't need to see Moro the Hut out here looking like a big sloppy mess.
Moro the Hut, dude.
oh my
Fucking
god,
great.
that was
Maybe that's
great.
why, like, intrinsically, I'm just like, this is Jabba the Hutt, Moro looking motherfucker. But I don't even know that.
Man, it's not a good look. But I think that the thing that really threw me off was they've already done something kind of similar to this in Super with Zamasu. They had him kind of take over the universe. It wasn't necessarily the planet itself and wasn't connected, but he was connected to everything. So to use that again, I think that's the biggest problem for me with this entire arc is just seems like they continuously recycle bit after bit after bit just to create more content.
That's
I
a
would have
great
liked
point.
to have seen a more focused storyline, maybe something, lean into the magic a little more instead of absorption.
Yeah. Yeah, for an arc that started off so magic heavy, man, they certainly started to abandon a lot of
So
the
fast. They
the
just
magic
dumped it.
approach. Yeah. Until, kind of the end here of this chapter where the Daikaioshin suddenly is boom back around again. But before we get there, all right, cool point. Tyson weighed in, said he thought it was kind of lame. And you know what, Tyson? I agree with you. But also I now find out, or I now realize I should say, um, it's because I fucking hate Jabba the Hutt and what he did to Han Solo. My buddy Ryan, who we'll get to more in a little bit, he thought Planet Moro was awesome and is a cool shout out to comic books that have living planets.
All right.
Yeah, I suppose. Marcus, great point though with the Zamasu thing and the fact that at the end of that arc, like he became the entirety of that reality. Like his face is like multiplied a million times over for the entire sky. The only option they have is the Xeno button. It was nice that it didn't get to that point with the Xeno button, seemingly for this, but it had certainly like it seemed like it was walking us down that path for sure. So we do get the visual of, the big giant Moro hands coming in to fight a little tiny small Goku, normal Goku. Um, the visuals of that I thought were pretty interesting. Callbacks to like the same kind of vibes of, them fighting, giant Ozarus or giant Namekians or giant any Harudagarn. Some of those blocks are straight out of movie 13, so those were cool little things to see, but it seems at that point that the situation's gotten so dire that Beerus decides, all right, it's time for me to step in. It would be very inconvenient if the Earth is erased. Food here is real dope. I should probably do something. And the second he like starts to get ready to go, Whis gets a call on his staff from Granddaddy Grand Priest, and they are being summoned to go discuss something. We're not told what that something is. However, Whis does sort of speculate that it probably has something to do with Miris having just poof disappeared within the last, however many minutes this has, been on the battlefield. So why do we think they're going to go talk to the Grand Priest? Do you think it's about? Because I've been calling this entire time that it's about the fact that mortals are tapping into this power of gods in this mastered ultra instinct form, and it's gotten to this point where even Beerus was considering stepping in and fighting. Like it could be some combination of those two things that's kind of enraged the Grand Priest, but also Miris disappearing. Miris is one of his children. When Beerus, and I don't think I put this question really out there, but I kind of meant to ask it organically in this outline here. When they do go and talk to the Grand Priest, what do you guys think that conversation is going to be about? Any of those three things? None of those three things? A combination? Marcus, we'll start with you.
Do we really know yet that the Grand Priest is enraged at this point? I mean, he could just be summoning them to have dinner. We don't know, right? And the context would lead us to believe that it probably is something that he's not happy about, but we don't have that for sure. So I really don't have a guess as to what it could even be at this point. There's not enough clues to let me know.
I'm telling you, man, he's pissed. Leonard, what do you got, baby?
I don't think it's. I think it might have something to do with Miris being gone, because I feel like obviously the Grand Priest would probably know that, and then in regards to that, I think it's gonna happen where something either happens to Beerus getting in some sort of trouble or Whis, either one of them. Which I think if either one gets in trouble, they'll both just be in trouble in general. And I think maybe what may possibly happen, I mean, this is just a far reach out here, but maybe it may lead to within the next chapter that we start seeing less of the god of destruction and his angel.
Huh.
Because
So
there is a line
I'm
that does remind me of that. And that's specifically when Beerus says, you guys need to take care of your own problems, which the whole fan base has been saying since Resurrection F. Don't have the gods fix everything. Let the characters fix it. Let them find some unique way, even if it's just literally pulling something out of your butt and hang them with it. Just something different.
yeah.
And I think this might be leading to it.
Yeah, that was a very like meta moment. Like the second Beerus is like, just solve your own problems. The Earth's problems aren't my problems, kid. Peace. By the way, save me some food. I was like, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. I'm glad that your dad just called you up, dickhead. Took you away, fucking champion. Speaking of champions, I think Reese may be joining us shortly. We'll see if he pops in on the call. However, I think it could be a combination of the things, right? So the idea that Maris, went against his angel oath and decided to fight to try to protect the universe. Who is the Grand Priest going to be able to blame for that? I don't think anybody. The person he could blame for that is already gone. All right. So I think that kind of eliminates one of those three things that I brought up. The second one, the idea of Goku working with Mastered Ultra Instinct and having the power of gods or whatever, and maybe even Vegeta having this forced spirit fission factors into it as well. Who knows? I wonder if maybe he, like you said, Marcus, maybe he's not mad about it at all, but maybe he's curious about it. He's like, maybe he's in recruitment mode. I said it at some point in the not so distant past. There is precedent for in Dragon Ball for one God of Destruction to step down, retire, and have somebody else take over. Maybe the Grand Priest is thinking somewhere in that vicinity, and maybe he's got eyes set on Goku or Vegeta to take on some sort of role in that hierarchy. And then the third point, I don't know if it's a coincidence that immediately after Beerus decides and says out loud to everybody, all right, it's time for me to get involved. It's time for me to step up and do something because it would be inconvenient if I lose the Earth. When he knows damn well he should not be doing things like that. The fact that the call came in within like 10 fucking seconds.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's like the time that I went to the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio, and like tried to pay with my debit card. I'm like, I've been using my debit card all the way up to Ohio on this road trip for like a few days leading up to then. And then I went to pay for my ticket and I know I had a bunch of money. And they were just like, nope, we see where you are. You're in Ohio. So I called my bank and I was like, yo, what the fuck, dude? I know I got money. I'm getting turned down and look like a broke ass motherfucker in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm a rock and roll musician. Don't you understand the irony of this? And they were like, oh, well, you didn't let us know you were traveling. You're in Ohio. Don't you know that Ohio is the #1 state in the country for credit card fraud? I was like, why the fuck would I know that? I don't know. I'll let you know I'm traveling next time. Please take the block off my card. I look like a broke ass motherfucker, and this is the only goddamn currency I got. Anyway, it's kind of like that with Whis, Beerus, and the Grand Priest. Beerus says that stupid shit out loud. That's the equivalent of me trying to pay my admission fee of $26.50 or whatever the fuck it was on a Tuesday morning. And then Whis is the communicator of the bad news. That's the person on the other side of the counter saying, I'm sorry, sir, your card's been declined for a third time. Even though I'm like, dude, I know I got money in my bank right now. And then the Grand Priest is the woman on the other end of the fucking customer service line saying, yeah, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You gotta let us know you're going to Ohio. You can't just be using Ultra Instinct and getting my angels all fucked up and deciding you're gonna fight for the Earth. This is not okay. You gotta let us know. You can't just be operating out there all solo on your own. You're in trouble. Boom. That's how I bring it back around. Grand Priest is pissed at Beerus. And maybe he's going to be put on the bench for a while. Maybe Vegeta or Goku could be, upcoming potential Gods of Destruction candidates. Any thoughts on that long-ass theory that I went through with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Goku in a position of destruction. I just don't see that from him. I could see Vegeta very easily filling in that Beerus role. As he progresses and as his story plays out, I could definitely see him kind of going into an apprenticeship, sort of like Top with Belmond, and filling in that same kind of role.
Want to know what I think is interesting too is Vegeta's whole claim in this arc was about forced spirit fission, which is basically the ability to split energy apart from each other. What does that sound an awful lot like? It sounds like the baby cousin of Hakai energy of destruction. Maybe those two things operate in the same hemisphere, and maybe that's what grabbed the Grand Priest's attention. I don't know. Yo, Leonard, what do you think?
I have two options for a candidate for God of Destruction.
This is okay. Is it Yamcha?
No,
You're wrong
it's
then.
Tien. I'm kidding. I'm
Dude,
totally
Tien
kidding.
would be an excellent God of Destruction. He would take that job very seriously. He would train a ton, and he would tri-beam the fuck out of everyone without risk of losing his life.
His shoulders would gain times 10.
Could he afford to gain that much more? He's already got some huge trash.
You never know, but no. In all seriousness, the two people that I could actually see do it, Piccolo and Oob.
Mm.
Interesting.
Now, when I say Piccolo, the reason why is because he absorbed Kami, the original Kami, and since he was already part of Kami in a sense, I could see that, like, maybe they elevate him to like, hey, look, here you are. You're now like God of Destruction. Or I could see Oob. I kind of have a more visual to Oob just because since Oob has most of the God Key from Boo's other half, the evil Boo. So I could see that a bit more, and especially since Oob is at a very young age where just seeing how much energy he had, like,
yeah, pretty remarkable.
I could see that if they went that route, it'd be very interesting to see. But in all realness, I don't think they're going to be looking for another God of Destruction, or at least if they do, it's probably going to be someone from a different universe.
Yeah, I don't think there's a market for a new God of Destruction right now. I don't necessarily know if that's where they're heading with this, but I like your Piccolo guess. But I do think that Kami and Piccolo, the next logical step for him would be to move into like a King Kai position.
Right.
Because through the training steps, the next guy up is the King Kai. So I don't know if he would necessarily go straight into that, but Piccolo is so much more powerful now than what Kami would have ever dreamed of. So that could end up playing out. I like it though.
I do like that idea of it maybe being somebody we've never even heard of, though. I mean, I don't think that would happen, unfortunately, but I like the idea that it could happen because it gives you yeah, right. Manaka is the first one on tap for the God of Destruction candidate.
The first God of Destruction was big nipples.
Yeah, gotta
the
have
biggest, the sensitivest of nipples, most sensitive nipples. But it gives you a perfect excuse to bring in a new character. I'm a fan of that off the bat, but also a new character who's got every excuse to be in the same stratosphere of Goku and Vegeta's strength. And I'm a fan of continuing to build out a cast around them that is of equal or comparable strength, so that it's not just the straight up Goku and Vegeta show and the Saiyan show. So that said, I guess we'll see what exactly the Grand Priest wants to do. Before they depart, Whis tells Goku basically, got to do what Miras did to beat Moro. You got to crack that crystal, bitch. Which we knew from the leaks last week. It was the part where I read the translations of the leaks and I dropped my phone in disgust and I was like, this sounds like a stupid, like, video game fucking objective. Crack the crystal to defeat your enemy. Like, this is where we're at, talking about, magic at the beginning of this arc before. And it's like, just crack the crystal again. Like, the cracking of the crystal when Maris did it, it didn't strike me as like, that's how we did it. Oh, that's the solution. It struck me as a cool fucking action sequence where somebody just got their ass whooped. Okay. I feel like they could have given us other explanations as to how to maybe defeat Miras or excuse me, defeat Moro. I'm not sure if I've been confusing those two M's, whatever. There were probably other ways to defeat Moro other than just Maris cracking the crystal. It just felt super fucking lazy. It felt so lazy.
I think what I'm a little caught up on too here is so Moro absorbed the power of the earth and everybody on earth and all of this, but it's already been established that these characters are earth breaking, world breaking characters.
Yeah, it's almost like them saying like, well, they're not as powerful as you thought because Moro's gonna blow up just the planet now, and that's not what we've been risking every single time somebody shoots off a fucking Kamehameha or a Big Bang attack, since the goddamn Cell games.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't take much for Goku or Vegeta to just wipe out half of the Earth if they wanted to, and by proxy wiping out half of Moro. I just don't understand the stakes that came out of this.
It's just a very convenient way for them to reshuffle the gravity of the situation to fit the narrative in the moment, I believe is maybe it. Either way, crack the crystal, bitch. That's the new name of the game. It's your new objective. Woo! Goku goes to make the attempt to crack the crystal. Vegeta basically pulls him out of the way and strikes the crystal a bunch, and a bunch of the energy is like dispelled out, I guess, back to people back on the earth that Moro has previously absorbed. Cool. Way to give my boy the check mark on the objective that I thought was a bunch of fucking horseshit. Cool. Thanks for that. What is interesting to me about Vegeta's role in this, though, is as Goku goes to like try to finish Moro off, he gets caught up in like all these big earth Moro limbs. Like the visuals in this chapter this month are probably, I think, one of the strongest parts of it. Like I'm not a fan of the idea of Earth Moro or his general face, but the action sequences in which they utilize like these big, limbs, earth limbs that Moro has and Goku has to fight against before he does his thing later on. I thought it looked very cool. Essentially, Goku gets caught up in one of these big earth chunky Moro limb things, and they need to propel him forward with some additional energy to get to Moro. Or get him out of like this Moro encased thing that he's stuck up in. And that's when, I forget who asks him, but somebody asks Vegeta if he can do essentially the reverse of the forced spirit fission.
I think it was Piccolo.
Was it Piccolo? Yeah, that sounds right. He'd be the guy to put that one together. If he could essentially do the reverse of the forced spirit fission to compile energy together instead of break it apart, and then take that energy and give it to Goku to break him out of there, give him a final boost to be able to overcome Moro at the end here. The way that I phrased it in the questions to the patrons, again, if you want to get in on these conversations, patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. The way that I phrased it to the patrons and the people in Roshi's Secret Stash today was essentially Vegeta essentially does a spirit bomb with his reverse version of his forced spirit fission. And, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like he played a large enough role in, the finality of this arc or the final piece of this arc? So I'm going to go to the Facebook answers on this first before I ask you guys. How did I word it exactly? How do you feel about Vegeta doing essentially a spirit bomb with the reverse forced spirit fission? Almost exactly what I just said to you guys. And was he involved enough in this win? That's the question. My boy Tyson, new guy at that $5 tier. Real MVP this week. He was the first guy to get his goddamn answers in. I think it's pretty cool, actually, because now Vegeta can do something Goku can't. I think that was the reason why they won. I think is missed a word there, but it's cool. I think that's the reason they won. Vegeta can do something now that Goku can't, which is true. Goku doesn't know forced spirit fission or how to reverse it and use it in this way to compile energy, in which Vegeta just did. True. My buddy Ryan, all right, before he answers any questions, he leads with, well, one, it wasn't a spirit bomb. In the same way Vegeta gave Goku energy when he got ringed out in the Tournament of Power, he just gathered energy and did the same for this here. Spirit Bomb is an attack. Good point. Spirit Bomb is meant to inflict energy, and this is meant to give energy as a way to power someone up. Valid point. However, given how I phrased the question, I feel like people maybe know what I meant. Like, to the point where Vegeta does, like, the Spirit Bomb poses. 3 of them. He's got the little Spirit Bomb that he is hit in the face with after it bounces off Goku, Gohan, Krillin, or Goku, Krillin, Gohan, I forget. He has that pose that he uses. He also has the big Spirit Bomb when he gets the ki from, or chi, as they put in the manga chapter. I feel like they change month to month. I could be wrong. He gets the big God ki from Oob and Daikaioshin, whatever. And then he has that big pose. Like, it's very evidently a reference to the imagery that happens when Goku does a Spirit Bomb. Except it's cool because Vegeta's doing it this time. I know that it wasn't meant to inflict energy. Ryan, why are you trying to be contrarian for the sake of being contrarian? Ryan, ain't nobody got time for that. Listen, stop fighting with kids in Dragon Ball groups about how Superman would whoop his ass. We know Superman whoop his ass. We know Superman fucking like eat 1 billion goddamn suns as they explode and then fucking take a dump the next day and be fine. We know. We know. That's what happens when you fucking have like 85 goddamn years worth of stories. People get bored and make up some crazy wacky shit. That's what fucking happens. That's why Superman's so goddamn strong. Cut it the fuck out. Stop wasting your time. You're a smart, great, compassionate dude. Wasting your time arguing with chuds about why Superman is stronger than Goku. I'm gonna tell you a secret, dude. I'm gonna tell you a secret about Superman versus Goku. Nobody fucking cares. All right? That's a secret. It's a secret. All right, go forth and live in prosperity and all that bullshit. Anyway, how did you guys feel about I guess I'm calling it the Vegeta Spirit Bomb now. How'd you feel about the Vegeta Spirit Bomb, Leonard?
I it was interesting, especially the fact that one of the things he did was just literally hit the ground. Because I mean, when I thought about it, when I first saw that panel, I was like, okay, is Vegeta that angry that we're losing again?
Yeah, right.
But
You don't
then,
really know why he even busts in.
exactly. So then I was just like, okay, and I was like, oh wait, because then I thought about it, like looking at that panel while laughing. I was like, oh wait, it's actually a good idea, because then he's taking the energy from him. And what was weird was the fact that how fast reacting in that sense it was for him to get that off of Moro.
Mm.
So for me, like in a sense, it was kind of weird because just like I didn't think he'd be reacting to it that fast, because I think there was a part where, or a panel where like he reacted for like a brief moment where he was feeling the energy being taken away. So I guess for me it was kind of weird, but I did like the concept, and I did like the idea, and I did like the fact that there was one other character that you did say, Oob, that was in there, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we got a whole piece of this conversation reserved for Oob up next. Do you feel like Vegeta did enough in this final part though as well, Leonard, or what? Like I feel like the visual of it, of him being the guy to, get the energy expelled from him gather up the energy, give it to Goku to get him in that final stretch, all very, very cool. But is that the role? He's essentially playing that same kind of role that he plays at the end of Majin Buu, where he's the like, hey, Mr. Satan, put me through to the earth. Oh, what's the matter? Nobody on earth wants to listen to me yell at them about giving her energy. Hey, Mr. Satan, let me put you through. Like, he's the mastermind of the entire plan, except this time he's like one of the only people to be able to actually execute on it. Do you feel like he
I'd
did
say
enough, though? It's a long way to get there. Did he do enough?
yes and no. Yes, just because he definitely did put through part of the plan. Um, Piccolo and everyone else kind of helped as well. Well, I'd say it's more Vegeta's plan, but then Piccolo said, "Hey, why don't you just do that and put it into a ball form and give it to Goku?" And he's just like, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that." And then, um, but then at the same time, no, because I feel like if you listen at this point, or if you've listened up to this point, you know I'm a Vegeta fanboy. I am a Vegeta diehard, and believe it or not, it's the happiest and saddest time of your life because you love to see in the movies and the show and everything where he gets that he like you beam the person up and you're like, yes, this is what I love, this is what I come here for, and then he just gets the shafting of a lifetime.
Dude, Fakatsu, you just described the end of Fakatsu no F, man. Like, it makes all the sense in the world for Vegeta to be the one to kill Frieza, and then they just take it away from him
It's
every motherfucking time.
It's literally like they just got a Moby Huge and just rammed it up every Vegeta fanboy's ass.
I do not understand that reference. Is Moby Huge a dildo?
Just look it up on Amazon and trust me, you clear your browser history after that.
Dude, my question is how do you have the name brand of a dildo like that quickly off the top of your fucking tip of your tongue? Like,
Because YouTube is a funny place.
Mm.
yeah, okay, blame YouTube. Likely fucking story. That's
It's
what
true.
the right wing's been doing.
I
That's what right wingers have been doing for the last 5 years, bro. I'm not buying shit.
literally it was from YouTubers who played Card Against Humanity's online. Long story short, not to tangent this off, but they said Moby Huge and they're like, what the hell's a Moby Huge? And one of the YouTubers looked and started laughing. And then they were like, oh, it's a 12-foot dildo. And I didn't believe it. I really didn't believe it. So my friend and I were like, let's look this up. We looked it up and there was a life size person, obviously a real person, standing next to it. And I had never there's different types of fears, but I've never felt fear for anyone who would possibly buy a $600 dildo.
Oh
Uh,
my. That is an expensive piece of butlery.
Sorry, $606.47.
did that just happen?
I literally
Butlery.
had a friend, but literally,
That's the funniest fucking thing I've said in like 6 months. I'm going home. Goodbye. Podcast over.
I think we've just created a brand new subcategory for phallic objects.
Butlery.
butleries.
Although those could also be the things that you could describe as butler tools. Like what the fuck's a butler use? Like a feather duster. That's a tool that would be used in butlery. Nah, I'm sticking with the dildos thing.
They got to have a butler scale.
Yeah. Nah, it's dildos. Butlery's dildos. Definitively now and forever. Hashtag butlery with 2 T's.
I'm putting that on Twitter. Putting that on Twitter.
Perfect. There you go. We got the hashtag for the episode, which is great because I'm a social media fucking novice. Marcus, what do you think, dude? Reverse spirit bomb, spirit fission, fusion, fuck Ryan about his goddamn choice of picking out my words like he did. What do you think, man? Is it cool? Did he do enough? How do you feel?
I think it's appropriate. I think Vegeta has spent the entire series in a support role, like that. He is that assist at the very end. You go back to Cell. He hits Cell with that one blast that frees up Gohan just enough to go through him. You go back to Majin Buu. He's getting his ass kicked for 5 minutes or whatever so Goku can gather the power. You go through this entire series, and it's Vegeta giving the assist so Goku can finish it off. And I think it's extremely appropriate that he was in that role. I would have liked to have seen more. Would have liked for Goku to be able to, or Vegeta to be able to be the guy. But at this point, I've given up all hope.
Yeah.
He's in the role that he's meant to be, that the writers want him to be in. So I think it was just right. I don't think I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't overly excited. I think it was to be expected.
Yeah, I think maybe you just helped me like work my way through accepting the fact that I'm just gonna spend the rest of my life waiting for Vegeta to get a win, and I'm gonna die before it happens because it's never gonna happen.
I'm on
Technically, he got to win.
it. I want to see Vegeta step into the forefront and be the guy. But at this point, I just don't think we're ever going to get there.
I think I think Vegeta did get a win at some point. There's only 1 point and 1 point only. To reference a old arc, well, not really old, but a recently old arc. Mainly when they go to the future, and it's the Zamasu and Goku Black arc, not in the manga, where find out that Goku never kissed.
Fair.
So technically,
Yeah,
Vegeta guys win.
He's getting wins.
Vegeta got the ladies' man. And plus, can we also take note that if you don't play Dragon Ball Fighters, understandable, but literally, Vegeta is always the assist for Goku.
Dude, Super Saiyan Vegeta in that game is the most annoying fucking assist that there is. I don't know if they've nerfed it since the last time I played it, but it's one of the most annoying, like top assists. It catches you like almost every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So annoying.
He's literally just the assist character.
That's it.
He's not even A or B assist. He's just C assist. That's it.
So not to go off on too much of a tangent about fighters, I had Super Dope audience. We had the Super Dope baby. His name is Jameson Skywalker. Jimmy and Sam had the baby as of this last Thursday, right? But I got to spend some. We had an accidental dry run on Tuesday. We thought the baby was coming Tuesday. Had to wait till Thursday, but that ended up 2 days this week that I was with my nieces Abby and Ava. And they're big anime fans, big Dragon Ball fans, big My Hero fans especially. And my Xbox was on. I was like putting either Hulu on or something, and they saw the icon for Dragon Ball Fighters. And they were like, yo, what's that? I was like, oh, it's Dragon Ball Fighters. It's a fighting game. You know, they're 9 and 10 years old, so it's not totally lost on them, video game. I'm like, it's a 3-on-3 fighters game. And they're like, oh, that sounds really fun. Can we play it? And I was like, well, we actually can't because the disk drive in my Xbox is burned out. I have a day one Xbox One. It's a miracle it still runs, honestly. But the disk drive recently stopped working on it, so my disk copy does not read anymore. But I was like, it's fine. I explained that to them. And then I'm like, but it's fine, girls, because honestly, that game sucks ass. It used to be fun. And then I started playing on the internet. And then if I won, I get a bunch of hate messages saying that I sucked. And then I only won because I spammed a bunch of shit. And then if I lost, I just get a bunch of hate messages saying that I need to learn how to play the game and fucking stop doing things that they beat me with. It's the most annoying experience in the goddamn world. If I never play Dragon Ball Fighters again, on the internet at least, all right, because it is a fun game if you're just playing like arcade mode. On the internet, if I never play it again, it'll never be fucking too soon. Fuck that game and fuck its community. All right, yeah, I said it.
I would say yes, but here's the thing.
They have really fun little chibi avatars that run around in the lobby. I know, dude. I had a sweet ass like fucking Christmas trunks or some shit.
That is true, but not what I was gonna say. The thing I was gonna say is, you're playing on the console side where a lot of the the anime haters come in, compared to the PlayStation.
That's another thing too. Is that game attracted a lot of people that weren't even Dragon Ball fans. They were just fighting game fans.
Yeah. Dragon Ball fans in general can just be the worst sometimes too.
Oh yes.
Mix Dragon Ball fans with fighting game fans, and you just get vitriolic, just cesspool of individuals.
It's bad math, man. It's fucking bad math. Anyway, now that we've shit on Dragon Ball Fighters and how much you must suck if you enjoy Dragon Ball Fighters.
I enjoy it, thank you.
Dude, I had a blast playing that game. I even got like the first 2 or 3 packs of downloadable characters. Like, I played that game a ton, but it just got to the point where, and I've even I obviously had to learn at some point that my disk drive wasn't working. Like, I tried to play it, but like once it didn't work, I was like, meh, what am I losing? I'm losing what? I'm gaining a few hours back of my life, maybe in a day or, a couple times a week. And I'm not getting a bunch of fucking hate messages from chuds who are angry that I either whoop their ass by a method that they concede is an inferior method and I'm a dickhead for using it, but they can't find a way to come up to beat it. All right, fuck you, weirdo. Or I'm getting hate messages for not being up to par with the high quality caliber player that Dragon Ball Fighters has to offer, y'all can go fuck yourself if you ever sent either one of those two types of messages to anybody ever. If that's the kind of way that you spend your time, maybe you're listening to podcasts, in which case, subscribe, rate, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all the places where the podcasts live. Positive reviews only, because those are the ones that make me feel better about myself. Don't leave negative ones now that I've shit on you, Fighters community. Don't.
Listen, you too can make Kyle's insides tingle.
Oh, dude, that's right. You made my insides tingle earlier.
I can make his insides tingle like nobody else can.
Ooh, sounded gayer than you meant, but
I don't know about that. I mean, there is a Moby Huge for a reason.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Butlery.
Oh, that was the thing that I was going to try to bring back around before, was the Moby Huge thing. There's some Transformer toy where like the proper Decepticon name of the Transformer when it came out, like back in the 80s, they've since changed the name obviously, but like I can't remember the name of it. I've covered it. I produced a show with some experts from Antiques Roadshow, the Just Stuff League, JUSTUFF League. You can check it out. Travis is a fucking Transformers whiz, but he did this whole thing about how one of these Transformers, God damn it, it was definitely Maximus something, but they named a dildo after it sometime in the 90s, and they had to change the name because people would go to research it and all this shit about dildos would come back on it. Just Stuff League, go check it out. Anyway, yeah, we've gotten a little off the beaten path here. Let's get back to this manga, chapter 66. Vegeta did a reverse almost spirit bomb. Okay, almost. The imagery is there, but it wasn't used as a all right, I'm done talking about that, Ryan. So this is where Leonard is going to be able to, do his, it's not a weird flex. It's actually a very perfectly appropriate flex, because a couple of months back, maybe last month, I don't remember exactly, your predictions for maybe the end of this arc was maybe somehow Oob gets involved. And I'm pretty sure I dismissed you out of hand. And I was like, yo, get out of here. What is that kid going to do? You're dumb, Leonard. So take a victory lap and, brag, man. How do you feel about Oob being the guy to contribute the final energy to get Goku over the finish line?
I've told you this over text. I am not Leonard anymore. I am King Leonardus the Third.
Yeah. King
I am
Leonardus,
the best.
King Leonardus
because
the Third.
I called it.
Leonard for short, and even shorter would just be Lenny, and you dismissed Lenny, so it's Leonard still, right?
If you do that, you're getting beheaded. If words could come out of my mouth properly, that'd be great.
Describe how you plan to behead me. Is this like a guillotine situation, or you got some kind of battle axe? You got an implement?
I'm gonna get a Moby Huge with a serrated side.
There it is.
Perfect.
#butlery.
#butlery. So how do you feel, man? So your boy Oob factors in here, huh?
I am very happy. Clearly, let me tell you guys, the power of the Dragon Ball Durag is a great one, because not only does it work, it literally makes all your predictions come true. And if you don't believe me, just trust me. Take advice from a person who owns a Dragon Ball Durag, who's putting it over their beanie. Probably not the best decision, but honestly, who cares?
King Leonard, how do you look in your Durag?
I look great because Oob is in the story. I'm very excited. Now, granted, it's just going to be like a one-time thing where, of course, it's just, we're showing him a little bit, and that's it. I'd like to say no, but probably not until like maybe probably another 20 chapters or something, where it's like there's maybe a time skip or something like that.
So one of the things that bothered me about this chapter this month, there's a few things that bothered me, but I think the bother has to do with the fandom's reaction. Twitter, Facebook, all the places. People were freaking out about Oob, quote unquote, finally being canon. And I'm like, they reference to like leading up to the recruitment arc, during the recruitment arc of the Tournament of Power. Like we've known Oob has been around for probably over fucking 30 chapters now. I don't remember exactly when Tournament of Power ended, but I would guess we've known Oob has been around for probably around 30 chapters, approximately. So people not remembering that he's already been referenced in this story. I think we've actually even seen a couple of panels of him when he was referenced. It was very evident they were talking about Oob, how quickly they forget. What's different, though, about his appearance this time versus last time was he was referenced basically while he was off screen. Kaioshin references, tells Goku about him. There's a boy you're going to want to consider in the future, not right now, but blah, blah, blah. We see a couple of shots of him, I think, at that point. That's it. All right. So we know he exists in the world, and that's what they're eventually leading to. What's different about it now is a major player in this arc, the Dai Kaioshin. I hope I'm saying that right. Hope I'm saying the right name. The Dai Kaioshin is the guy to go and get him to contribute energy to this forced spirit fission thing that Vegeta's putting together. And then what gives it that overwhelming extra energy is how much God energy or God ki that Oob has within him, being the reincarnation of evil Majin Buu. So Dai Kaioshin knows that. He goes and lets him know. They probably have some sort of energy alignment to let him seek him out, like whatever the fucking justification of him finding it is. He's now been exposed to not only a member of, the main cast for this arc, not typically a member of the main cast, but somebody who's important enough to the arc. How do you have Dai Kaioshin drop into your fucking village in India or wherever the fuck Oob is from, ask you to throw up some energy, throw up your hand, and then just let him fly away like nothing happened? I feel like there's no choice but to explain to Oob what's up, who he is, what's going on after this, and go introduce him to the gang. That's what feels different about it now, is that he's actually has a direct interaction with somebody in the story, and I hope the consequence is he now gets to meet everybody. Marcus, any thoughts on Oob coming into this?
Yeah, I think that's where I wanted to see. That's where I want to see. I want to see him be slowly introduced to the guys. Hey, this is the guy or the kid at this point who was able to give the energy that you needed to get through to be able to move forward. I really want to see him start interacting with some of the guys. I want to see us start getting towards that end of Z. Where Goku and Oob are starting to meet up. They meet in the tournament, get some training going. I'm ready to get to that point. I know you've talked about this for years and years. You're ready to hit that time skip. You're ready to test it and move on.
100%. Maybe that's the next arc. Maybe the next arc is we get to see that tournament where they meet.
I think we're trending in that direction. I think that's the whole setup here in my mind is that we're heading to a meeting between Goku and Oob, where Goku they may modify that end of Z story just a little bit to make it work, but I think that's where we're heading.
Yeah, I feel like there's no other option but to modify it slightly. But the questions for this outline a little bit, kind of getting a little reversed. I do want to talk about the whole Giant Goku thing, right? I'll talk about that in a minute. It's maddening to me that this was even a fucking conversation this week. I don't know where the hell y'all have been at for the last 30 years, but let's say that is the next arc. We get to see the tournament, Goku meet Oob, them fly off like they do at the end of Z. What do you hope for the future of Oob? Do you hope to see like a stretch of time where Goku just does like the mentor, training somebody thing? Do you prefer they do a time skip where Oob is now a viable member of the team and everyone's a little bit older? Maybe Goten, Trunks, Oob, they're all teens at or around the same time?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Hold that thought 1 second.
Hey guys.
It's a champion in the room. Hello, Mr. Reece.
How are you?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Yeah, good, bro. Just finished up at work.
Yeah, you're working in a prison. You ain't got no cell phone reception, so you couldn't join us while you were on the job site this month.
Yeah, man. Sucks.
I hear that they need all the prisons in Australia because your descendants are just a bunch of criminals.
Yeah, with the convicts.
Send them to a tropical island. That'll teach them their lesson.
Yeah, that's right. What's
If
been
you don't know,
happening?
if you don't know what we're talking about, Reese and I did a awesome, really fun Patreon discussion last week with the spoilers for this chapter 66, but we spent a lot of time just talking about a lot of nonsense. Patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope, including the history of Australia, history of the Portuguese people, and how we started the slave trade, basically. Sorry, Leonard. Lots of things. Go check it out. We, Reese, have been talking about this chapter 66. I'm gonna get your general questions after we answer these last two big talking points we've got. We're actually just wrapping up this part about how Oob just met the Daikaioshin, contributes his energy to this forced spirit fission reverse energy thing that Vegeta's doing to help aid Goku. And now we're talking about what the future of Oob might look like. So, Marcus, you're up, dude. What do you think that might look like if we do go next arc? It's the tournament. They meet. They fly off in the middle to go train or whatever. Do you want to see him train? Do you want to do a time skip? How would you prefer they handle it?
Yeah, I think I want to see them train. I think I want to see some of that. I think we've had enough conflict over the last few arcs now that I think we need some levity here a little bit. So I think it would be good to be able to see them train, see them get to know each other, see Oob develop a little bit over maybe even a stretch of time, and then come back into the fold with all of the other characters. I don't necessarily need a time skip. I don't think I need anything super into the future. But give us something, maybe a full arc of just those guys out training, and then maybe something pops up while they're training and they tackle it together.
I think the idea of handling it like that too, where it's like we do see some of the training maybe alluded to in the manga because the manga is so much more streamlined than the anime. An arc like that gives the anime all the leeway in the world to throw in extra filler stuff to pad out production times, which has been the name of the game since Super went off the air. It's like how much runtime in terms of storyboarding can they get? And, until COVID hit, it's like, our animators really working on this thing? Our buddy Geekdom and Anime AJ will lead you to believe they already have been working on, a series. We don't know if that's true or not. But how much runtime can you give these guys working in an arc where you've got some loose, like we can do some fun slice of life, one-off episode stuff with Oob getting trained by Goku? That's fucking prime time, I'm sure, for the guys at Toei Animation. Leonard, what do you think, man? You're the guy who called Oob being involved in this final arc, or this final part of the arc here. How do you feel they should handle Oob going forward?
I'm definitely sort of the same way. Definitely sort of the same way with Marcus about literally having Oob, Goten, and Trunks train. Something I would really like to see is I want to see a part where Oob doesn't know about his reincarnated past, and that I want him to be able that maybe he sees Majin Buu and he gets like a flashback, but it's like something where he's thinking maybe it's just a dream or something like that.
Well, I'm hoping that the Daikaioshin already kind of touched on that because it basically is Majin Buu at that point.
That is true.
Maybe that's already happened where he's like, I know something weird's going on. I'm holding my hand out here, giving whatever I'm giving to whoever I'm giving it to. Maybe that's the impetus to get Daikaioshin and Oob to talking about what the fuck just happened. Let's go introduce you because this is who you are. Like I feel like it would be hard to introduce him to the gang without letting him know. But then again, the end of Z, he's got no idea. Goku just knows, and he knows that he's going to be at the tournament that day, and he knows to just show up. Like, it's all very magical. You could write in some kind of reason as to how Goku knows all of that shit. Maybe take that route then, where he shows up at the tournament still unaware of the fact that he's a reincarnation of Majin Buu. Like, I guess there's a lot of ways that you could do it. I don't know.
I think at this point you could write it too, that Goku, by taking that energy, absorbing that energy, he feels where that came from. right? So now he's going to have some knowledge of, hey, I've felt this energy before. I know where this comes from.
Hell yeah. That's a
So
good
then
point, Marcus.
starts, develop. And then he can sense his energy going forward. He senses that he's coming to the tournament. He senses that he's going to be in the tournament and he's going to battle it. That's why he was excited. I think that we're heading that direction.
That's an excellent point.
Something I do also want to see is, because of course we don't really know if Oob can quote unquote control his powers too well. But something I would love to see is that maybe if they do train, it's Oob, Trunks, Goten, and maybe Goku or whoever's training them, maybe Piccolo, that Oob goes a little bit too hard, and that he does something maybe that either leads to the fact that like it's a Kid Buu sort of instant, or something where maybe he did a punch that was really hard and hurt Goten or Trunks more severely than they could him.
I don't know. I do like the idea of them all training together as opposed to Goku just being like, yo, fam, see you in 10 years or whenever. I do like that idea of him bringing Oob into the general Dragon Team atmosphere.
Yeah, so did I just as well, man.
Reese, how do you feel, man?
I
How do
think
you
I'll
feel
have to
about
agree with
Oob
what
showing
Leonard
up at
was
the end
saying.
of
It'd
this
be
chapter?
cool
I
to
mean,
see,
did you
like,
expect that like
but
Leonard
with a
did
bit
a
of a
couple ones
twist,
back? Because
maybe
I
Goku and
basically
Oob
dismissed
meet
him out of hand.
and they're about to train, and that's when the Grand Priest comes and takes Goku away because he's being Oh, it would be good if like Goku and him met in
Yo,
person,
yo, 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 yo,
and
yo, yo, yo,
then
yo, yo, yo,
the
yo.
Grand Priest
Your
comes
mic's
down,
breaking up like
takes
real bad,
Goku
rubbing
away
against something.
for
Check
being
it out.
shit and using godly powers. Him and Vegeta get taken away, and then Oob trains with Goten, Trunks, Piccolo, and maybe Gohan as like a mentor. And like having like Leonard was saying with the evil Boo in him, having him there, kind of like I don't know if you guys have all seen the new Venom movie with Tom Hardy. If you have, cool. Like that little voice in the back of his head, he just doesn't know what it is. So he might do things, and then he's like wondering why he did that. And there's a little voice in his head saying, "Hit harder," or "Do this," or "Do that." And he doesn't quite understand why. And then maybe he goes and trains with the Daikaishin and Majin Buu to learn how to control that part of himself. Yeah.
So, can I be very honest with you, Reese? Everything you just described about that little voice in the back of his head and like having to deal with, the temptation of slipping into evil, like Mandalorian has got me real hard into Star Wars over the last month, like to the point where since the election, I've been trying to pay attention less to the news, and I'm just like taking in old Star Wars like EU stories on fucking YouTube and shit like that to get my mind off of politics. All right. So my mind is so geared toward that idea of like the light side and the dark side of the force right now, and the temptation of the dark side, and Anakin Skywalker being the guy to restore balance and all that bullshit. Like those things are so at the forefront of my brain. Everything that you just said about Oob maybe hearing that evil Majin Buu voice in the back of his head, it kind of gave me half a chub. And it only gave me half a chub because the rest of the chub didn't come, because the rest of the chub knew that we were just writing Dragon Ball stories for adults, and that will never fucking see something that inspired, unfortunately. I don't think. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. Maybe one day they take the Toyotaro training wheels off, but
Yeah, Evil Boo will still be inside of him, and he has to learn it because it'll be like a past memory that'll be like imprinted on him, and maybe that's what like the Daikaishin sees, and then he's like, "Nah, we have to take this kid and teach him how to learn how to use it properly," and yeah, something like that. But
a lot of
I'd like to
possibilities
see.
for Oob.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with him and Majin Buu. Are they going to reconnect and fuse again together? So to keep Boo being a good guy, or like where does it go there?
That
Well,
would
what's
be an
his
interesting
role?
way. That'd be an interesting way to overcome that whole evil Boo voice in the back of my head.
Yeah.
It's like I'm the reincarnation of evil Boo because I don't have any of the good Boo in me, and that fucking fusion comes in at a point where it's like you need to get that OP power up to defeat some crazy big thing, but it also resolves that part of it.
Oh no, I was
Why
talking
aren't
about the other Boo, the original Boo, Fat
the
Boo.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Fat, like you're talking like a fusion, like they do
No,
in the.
Daikaioshin back with Fat Boo. Are they going to get back to form together again? Because you know how they got
Oh,
separated at the start of the arc?
yeah.
Because what's going to happen with that Majin Buu?
I'm a little fuzzy on how that started. Didn't the Daikaioshin like take the? Didn't
So
Majin Buu
Daikaioshin got absorbed by Buu,
Right.
and then
the
didn't the
Daikaioshin's
Galactic,
form like comes
yeah,
out, right?
and then obviously the Galactic Patrol separated them to get to the Daikaioshin because of Moro.
Got it.
So are we going to see them fuse back together again in order to keep the evil in that Buu, subdued, or like what's going to happen there? Like, surely the Daikaioshin is going to be playing some sort of like big part with that, because otherwise he's just been a bit of a wasted character. Like, where does he go from here? Does he go back to Kailand or?
Kylan, that'd be cool. That's kind of like my name, but with land at the end. Anyway, I feel like we've kind of covered the bases for Oob. A lot of possibilities. I think the most exciting part of those possibilities, though, is just the idea that maybe, just fucking maybe, we are about to move past the end of Dragon Ball Z and get past this 10-year time skip. Here's my little oob that I got off camera. Just looking at you guys being like, yeah, it's my time, motherfucker. Woo. Want to see a video? Patreon, you know that. All right, last point of discussion. This had to be the most annoying part of my week this week. Oob gives this energy. Goku is back in the fight against this giant-sized Moro. And then a giant Goku appears. And at the center of this giant Goku's fucking forehead is actual Goku, little actual human-sized Goku. And there's this big, giant energy Goku all around him who's now contending against Moro. And everyone was like, oh my God, Goku got a new form and just grew to the size of Godzilla. Reading it for the first time, those possibilities never even entered into my fucking brain. And then I finished the chapter and went and checked out Twitter to see some of the consensus was on this. And a lot of people were genuinely confused by the imagery used in this chapter. I thought it was very obvious that it was like, a visualization of Goku's now new overflowing energy. It's not something we haven't seen them do in the past. The thing that I thought of off the top of my brain reading this chapter was when Goku does his big punch through King Piccolo's thorax. And there's the shot of the Ozora monkey like flashing between him and Goku, coming toward him. The imagery there is he's using the overwhelming power, this primal power within him of the Ozoru, and that's why it's flashing there in the anime or in the comic. Or I haven't read the manga for that in a long time, so I would be interested to see how they do it there for sake of comparison. Anyway, my point is, that was so obvious to me what they were doing, and then to see other people confused and think that Goku can now grow to the size of Godzilla by having little Goku control him, like in his forehead or something. Like, man, I already didn't think much of the Dragon Ball fandom, and then that happened. So before I continue to voice any more disgust with how much y'all just seemingly have never read anything previous to Dragon Ball Super, Leonard, how'd you feel about Big Giant Goku, man? Did it confuse the shit out of you like it did the rest of anime Twitter?
No.
Well said.
Perfect. Marcus?
Yeah, I think initially it did. Um, it was just unexpected. I don't think I expected to see a visual representation like that. But once you see it in context, I think it's pretty obvious.
Especially when the shot is like face on giant Goku and then little Goku, and it's like you see what's happened, and his energy is so overwhelming. He can now use the ki to manifest not an actual body, but this. I don't know. It just seems
SD
so.
Goku.
It
SD
seems
Gundam
so.
Goku.
Yeah, you made the Gundam joke before, and it's. I don't know, man. It's like I referenced to Rudigarn. We were talking earlier. DBZ movie 13, Wrath of the Dragon. Probably my favorite movie because y'all know I'm a fucking Trunks stan, and I love to see that story of how he, didn't actually get his sword, but how he got his sword. That would be like saying Super Saiyan 3 Goku at the end of that movie, again, when he dragon fists through Rudigarn's fucking thorax. That big golden dragon that flashes around him, that dragon was actually there, and that was part of Goku's form. And Goku now has a golden dragon form that nobody talks about that he occasionally accesses when he's Super Saiyan 3. Like, it's that kind of how people did not put that together. It makes me kind of concerned about the overall IQ of our fandom, but also
Yeah,
just like pay attention.
I'll take up for some of those individuals though. If you're only specifically looking at the leak, there is no context. So the leak kind of gives a little bit of a misrepresentation, and I think everybody ran with it. And then whenever the chapter comes out, then I think everything is in context and you can see it. But I think everybody overreacted to the leak, and then they just decided, well, I've already overreacted. I might as well just keep going.
Is there anybody who overreacted to those leaks before reading the full chapter that you may be talking about specifically right now?
Listen, the world first and overreacting to everything in the world. It's just how it goes, man. Especially whenever you're only getting bits and pieces as it comes.
Especially when your paycheck depends on the kind of content that you can churn out for YouTube. Reese, did Giant Goku confuse the piss out of you, champion? I didn't say champion very well just now, but did it confuse you?
I just thought it was Avatar Aang in that TV show.
Yeah, no.
It was Avatar Goku.
Everyone said Avatar. Everyone said Naruto. Yeah, that's a great comparison.
Yeah, that's what it just looked like to me. I was just like, oh, okay, so he's inside a big energy thing. Kind of looks like Avatar.
And
that was about it.
I've never watched, and I feel like maybe Avatar. I've never really watched Avatar or Naruto. The thing that everyone equated it to in Naruto, Leonard, I wrote it down. Sasanu, is that how you say it?
Sasano.
Which
Sano.
Sano. Sasano.
Sasano.
Sasano. No, not new. It's no.
Yes.
Sasano. Anyway, a lot of people equated it to something like that, which, from what I'm understanding, basically works the same way in which I just described it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nothing.
Pretty much the same.
So basically, I don't know. I guess a lot of people thinking that Dragon Ball. I guess a lot of people thinking that Dragon Ball Super gave Goku a giant form. That's strike one. And then them thinking that they just borrowed it from Naruto. I mean, that's kind of strike two. Maybe you thought it was Ong and Avatar. Maybe that's strike 2A, 2B, whatever the fuck we're breaking it down.
What name did you just say?
Is it Aang?
Aang. We do not talk about Ong.
Is Ong not? Who's Ong?
We do not talk about it. Rule number one of the Avatar Last Airbender fandom. You do not say Ong unless you want to get beat up. It's Aang and will continue always to be Aang.
Just for the record, I don't think any of you guys could beat me up. But all right, Aang, lesson learned. Maybe Reese could beat me up.
I think I'd give it.
Oh shit, Marcus might too.
Because I'm a convict, isn't it?
Exactly it, yes. Anyway, those were the obvious comparisons to what Goku did in this chapter. And I feel like, what was I at? Strike 1, 2, 2A, 2B. Strike 3 is not remembering that types of this imagery has been used with Dragon Ball going back to comic books in the 80s. If you're new to Dragon Ball and this is like your first foray into following a chapter month to month instead of week to week back then, whatever, welcome. Read some fucking back issues or go back and watch the animes, because in the anime they do exactly the same type of thing in a few different ways that I'm sure I'm not even thinking of right now. Anyway, I didn't think it was that confusing. God help the overall collective Dragon Ball fandom and what's the word? General intelligence. Anyway, there's a few more answers I wanted to get out from Roshi's secret stash. Our new patron, Tyson, got in some answers for us. And my buddy Craig actually had a pretty good comment that I wanted to get your thoughts on, guys, before we wrap it up here. Tyson, fuck you at Tyson. What did you think of Giant Goku and did it confuse you? What the actual fuck? Question mark. Very confusing. Hope they adapt it well in the show. So he was confused about it, and he's no dummy. Oob ends, and then his last answer, I don't think I read it before. Oob ends up being the deciding factor. What's next for Oob? Goku trains him. That's all I can see that'll happen, and he'll have a big role in the next arc. I would love if that were to happen, Tyson. My buddy Ryan, who I've been bitching about periodically throughout the show. I love you, Ryan. Giant Goku jumped the shark and was not necessary. It didn't do much anyway. I don't know if it jumped the shark so much as it just used, I guess, a confusing piece of imagery to convey how much power Goku just absorbed from Oob's God Ki. And then he also said, I see a lot of people saying this was Oob's first appearance, and it's not. I said that before, yep. For the TOP in the manga, we see him, but it looks like we are coming up to the end of Z, so what's next for Oob? Fighting Goku in the World Tournament to be trained by him. So him too. He'd also like to see that tournament at the end of Z and then them fly off in the middle of it and go train and do the thing. Last thing I wanted to get your thoughts on, guys, before we wrap it up here. My buddy Craig chimed in with this comment. Here's the real question. If Oob has God Ki, does that mean that Boo also has the ability to use it? It would explain why they've written Boo out of the TOP first by failing the written and then later by him falling asleep. Not so sure that would have been because of God Ki, Craig. I think that was more just because all of the magic that he had, it would have made it way too easy for them to win the TOP. He's just going to turn everybody into candy and absorb them. He continues. The weird shit is Boo has been around since the start of time itself and might predate the angels. It would make perfect sense. Perhaps Zeno and Boo are just like Kami and Piccolo. So the Zeno, Boo, Kami, Piccolo thing, I don't know if I follow him there. Maybe I do. I don't know if the reciprocity is there within the relationships, but I think what he was working toward was people like Boo, people like Piccolo, people like Kami before he was absorbed Piccolo. They have these divine, like hierarchical kind of placements within the world of Dragon Ball and like the magic and all that world building bullshit. Now that we've seen God Ki be a deciding factor in being able to defeat a villain, and that somebody we did not expect to have God Ki or access or whatever to that kind of key be a factor in Oob, do you think that they've kind of introduced that as a way to be like, you know, if you've got some kind of divine, godly, proximity as your character might happen to have, does that give you an excuse to get some kind of god-ish level power up? And is that a way to expand the circle of fighters around Vegeta and Goku with other people like Oob or Piccolo? Maybe not Dende because he's not, classically a fighter or whatever, but people in that vein. Do you think this God Key thing is a way to expand the circle? Reese, we'll start with you, bub.
I don't know, man. It's just getting weird with all this God stuff now. They need to tone it back because, yeah, like I said last week when we were chatting, where do you go from there? Like, just seems to be getting like out of control now. Everyone's a bit of a god. Like, yeah, it's getting a bit dumb in that way. So I hope that they
And
do something to tone it back a bit, reset the power scaling a bit, go from there.
yeah,
Otherwise, we need to call fucking Chuck Norris to come in and save the day next.
yeah, man. I need Vegeta and Goku to do the fusion dance and become Chuck
Yeah,
Norris.
yeah, fuck yeah.
Um, yeah, but I think the idea of maybe stripping down powers is another way. It's the opposite way to go about it. But either bring people up to Goku and Vegeta's level, or bring Goku and Vegeta back down to a more, Z fighter appropriate level. Marcus, what do you think, dude?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't think the I don't think the realization that he has God Key is going to play a huge role. I think it played a huge role in the story, in the ending of this story, and I think it may play a role in just the identification. Having Goku identify Oob, but I don't know if Oob having God Key is ever going to be a huge plot thread going forward. I, I can see it. It works if they want to go that way. If they want to develop more godlike characters to have another body, but I think they're building a cast right now with Gohan being back to a pretty strong level. You've got Vegeta is doing his thing. Goku's doing his thing. Now you've got Broly somewhere out there, maybe.
Yep, you got a hit. You've got Jiren, you've got Cauliflower, Kale, Kaba. Like there are other characters out there who are within that realm.
Yeah,
Um, you might have just hit it, dude. Like this whole Oob having God Key thing, and especially how I think you said it afterwards. Like how that's the thing that like lets Goku know, like, oh, I've felt this energy before. That's the guy. That could be it in terms of the plot points for Oop having God Key. We've already maybe seen its purpose. That could be legitimately it. But I did like to live in that fantasy world where Craig was living for a minute. Leonard, what are your hopes with that, man? Do you think maybe I'm crazy to think they do that, or do you think maybe they'll just kind of cut it off with what we've already seen?
I think they're gonna do something kind of different. I feel like when it comes to the whole power scaling thing, I think what they're gonna do instead of, because something the fandom has been saying since the whole, oh, a god's got to come in and save the day, is maybe if we could stop relying on gods and maybe God powers within itself. Something I would love to see is that maybe Oob has a different way of using that God power, so that instead of using it like having a new form, it's like, oh, look, it's the first human god. No, let's instead maybe do it where he uses that God key, but it boosts more of his regular key. Or maybe he's able to do something different and use it to a different ability that Goku and Vegeta, in a sense, don't know how to, and they can learn from Whis how to use it.
Or just like something to make them, kind of unique or stand out
Yeah,
amongst the
pretty
crowd
much
of,
something different from
Saiyans and
gods.
people we've already seen, over the last 20, 30 years. You could do a lot with Oob, considering that he is, the reincarnation of Boo, who can do pretty much anything. I think the idea of having that magical entity reincarnated into a small Indian boy and the potential hijinks that could come of it as that small boy start to discover how powerful he is. A lot of possibilities there. So we're pretty much coming down to the end of this super dope episode. I want to thank our patrons, Marcus and Reece, for joining us today. Reese did this Mr. Rogers' fucking neighborhood thing where he popped in like an hour late. There were a couple of questions I wanted to ask you in rapid style fashion, Reese.
Yeah,
So
man.
you need to answer these things in like, we're going to say 10 seconds or less. Are you ready, motherfucker?
Yeah, I'll give it my best go.
Earth Moro, cool or not cool?
Not cool.
Easy one. How do you feel about Vegeta doing essentially a spirit bomb, Ryan, with the reverse force spirit fission? And was he involved enough in this win?
Always would love to see him win, but he did pretty good. I'm satisfied, but could have been better. But I'm satisfied, content.
Reverse spirit fission, basically a spirit bomb, yeah or nay?
Nah, it's different, man. It's a power transfer, so it's transferring from one person to another.
100%. But would you agree that the
He's the
imagery
filter.
used for which the imagery used by Vegeta, or the poses even, imagery displayed, would you agree that you were obviously meant to feel like Vegeta was throwing a spirit bomb? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
A bit? That's not enough, man.
You said rapid style, so I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, rapid style, so you fucking disagreed. Anyway, what'd you think of Giant Goku, and did it confuse you? Like the fucking Vegeta spirit bomb thing did, apparently?
Yeah, didn't like it.
Didn't like it one bit.
It was Avatar fucking Aang right there.
I thought his name was
Avatar Goku.
Shut up.
The reason why Leonard's saying about the name Aang is because they made a like fucking Dragon Ball Evolution version of fucking Avatar, and it was shit.
I usually watch Dragon Ball Evolution once a year. That's not even a joke. I've watched it once a year, every year since this podcast has started. It gets better every time. And by better, I mean it gets easier to laugh at.
How sad is it that those two characters are from Shameless?
Who hurt you?
Probably some butlery in there somewhere.
There was definitely some butlery in there.
With some Moby Huge.
Hashtag butlery, hashtag Moby Huge, hashtag Transformers that are actually dildos. Last question. Oob ends up being the deciding factor in the God Key realm, and he's now met the Daikaioshin. What's next for Oob? You kind of already answered that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right, so Giant Goku didn't confuse you?
No, I just didn't like it.
Did you change your mind about Vegeta doing the spirit bomb, basically, that was actually just transfer of energy, but obviously was meant to be the visual representation of Vegeta doing a spirit bomb over Goku? Did you change your mind on that?
No, I'm still the same.
You fuck. Go back to Australia. You're already there. Never mind. All right. Well, this has been fun. Chapter 66. What the hell was the name of this ridiculous chapter? Moro, Consumer of Worlds. Except he's now dead, which is cool because that means we're at the end of this super long, super like callback. Hey, remember this part of Dragon Ball Arc? It's been a long road to get to this. I feel like the Tournament of Power was fucking forever ago. And that's not a good way to feel at the conclusion of this arc, given how hopeful and happy I was for the first 4, 5, 6 chapters. Like, it started in a good place and it ended in a stale place. And it's just, it's good to have it over with. The best part of this chapter and this arc is the end. Because it's over. I know that's like a joke normally, but legitimately the best part of this thing is the end because it's over. Oob might be involved now. It signals potentially them moving forward with the story out of the static time that I've been begging them to move out of for forever. Let's hope. We'll see what happens with next month's chapter. We'll see what Beerus and Whis have to talk to the Grand Priest about. Anyway, thanking the patrons, Marcus, Reece. Thank you guys for supporting us. If you guys want to get in on the conversation, we do these once a month when the new manga chapters drop. Patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. At that $5 tier, you can jump in on these conversations and let me know how you feel, even if it's wrong. Reece. Marcus, your first time on. Anything you want to conclude with, my friend?
Listen, thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. I don't get an opportunity to talk about Dragon Ball as much as I'd like to, so it's great to have this opportunity.
And I will say, you are a very well-spoken individual, and it sounds like you've been listening to Super Dope for a very long time. and I love it. And I'm happy to have you with us today and be part of the conversation. Reece, I talked to your smelly ass. I don't know that your ass is actually smelly, but Reece, I talk to your smelly ass all the time. Any thoughts that you want to part with after this conversation today?
No, thanks for having me again, man. It's always good to have a group of people to talk a bit of shit with about Dragon Ball with. I don't really have any mates that are too big into it, so I can't really have normal conversations with them about it.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's my favorite thing about Super Dope is what you two guys just said. I never thought about, like, when we started it was because I was already talking to my buddies about it every week anyway, because we're fucking nerds like that, always have been. But I never thought that angle would be the thing to appeal to people who are just like, I don't have anyone to talk about Dragon Ball with. I thought everyone had somebody to talk about Dragon Ball with. So I'm glad we can help solve that one for you guys. Appreciate your continued support. You guys have been OG supporters, like, really since pretty much the beginning. Reece, I'm not sure when you came on, but me and Marcus figured out he's been listening pretty much since the first month of the show. So over 3 years now. Thank you guys. Leonard, anything going on in your world in terms of the podcast stuff? What are you up to, brother?
Maybe starting a new podcast soon, so stay in tune with that. NPC, we're back doing monthly again, or bi-weekly, whichever we do. We're basically back. We're on a regular schedule, and I'm going to be part of a new one that's basically Dungeons and Dragons, and it's going to be my first time playing.
Wait a minute. You're making a dungeon. You are like, is somebody else putting it together? Because
Paul is putting it together.
Paul is putting it together. All right. Well, we've been working on a Dungeons and Dragons pod too, I guess, concurrently.
So I think we need to collide at some point.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question is: are you guys doing actual Dungeons and Dragons? Are you doing Pathfinder? Are you doing a GURPS? Like, what are you guys doing?
We are doing the full story of everyone acts their role, everything like that. So I don't necessarily know.
But are you playing the game Dungeons and Dragons? Like, are you playing?
Apparently we
3.5? Are you playing 5.0?
I have no idea.
Oh, that's right. You've never played. You just said that.
Yeah.
I'm being the dickhead right now.
Paul knows a little bit better than I. Well, obviously a lot better than I.
Have you rolled up your character yet?
We kind of have. We actually need to discuss it a little bit more because he wanted to talk a little bit more about it.
What are you gonna play?
Basically, a black person.
You realize that black person is not a class in Dungeons and Dragons, right?
That is true, but if you think about it, how rare is it to find a black person in a Dungeons and Dragon game?
That's true. I guess there weren't very many blackies running around in medieval England back in the fucking 1400s. Good call.
Exactly.
So seriously, what's your class going to be? It can't be black person. That's not a class in Dungeons and Dragons. Are you going to be a rogue or a thief or are you going to be a fighter question. Or a paladin or like black person's not a class. Like, what are you doing? I normally play a hobbit hobbit rogue. So like I'm in the shadows. I have like crossbows and throwing axes and shit, but I'm small and meek and I'm hiding and
like I said,
sniping people.
I'm fairly new to this, so I still don't know all the kinks yet, but I'm trying to, yes, butlery. But I'm trying to figure it out.
Hashtag butlery. All right, fine. I'll fucking stop giving you the third degree with Dungeons and Dragons. All right. I think at some point in the not so distant future, myself, Carlton, Russell the Muscle, maybe a couple of other people may be doing some kind of, I won't say D&D, but a role-playing game on Twitch.
Fun.
I'm pushing for more of like a My Hero Academia X-Men kind of thing where you can like make your own superheroes kind of world. That sounds way more fun to me personally, but Carlton's got this thing about spiked dildos and chainmail. So it's an uphill battle. I don't know if he will ever.
Butlery tier 2.
Yeah, that's next level.
Hashtag Butlery 1492. 1492, Columbus sailed in ocean blue and shoved a spiked dildo up Carlton's pooperoo. Anyway, that's going to do it for Dragon Ball Super Dope this week. Make sure you rate Pooperoo is how I just ended that. Make sure you guys rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and just Spotify. YouTube, all the places where the podcasts live. YouTube.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. And if you want to be involved in our Patreon discussions, patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. I actually just put up a free post today. It's an audio commentary track of me and Minnie Van Dan doing doing a commentary for Mandalorian season 2, episode 4, The Siege. So we had a blast doing that. It was a very easy and effective way for us to do commentary on other IPs that we love, other nerdy shit that we watch every week anyway, but without having to launch an entire motherfucking podcast around it because, you know, believe it or not, this shit takes time and work sometimes. So if you want to go check out that free commentary track, do it. Links in the show notes. Thank you, Leonard, for co-hosting, anchoring this nonsense. Marcus, Reece, for weighing in on the big, heavy issues about me feuding with Facebook people and dildos and all that. It was a great time. Hope to see y'all again very soon. And I'm going to end this with the song. It's a song that I know pretty well. It's a song, I believe it's called Limit Break X Survivor, Genkai Topa Survivor, maybe in Japanese. I do an acoustic version of it. Star Teach Show. That's me playing the guitar. It ends with but I usually make up funny words. So what do we talk about today? Dildo butlery.
For sure.
Butlery for sure. We got to work in butlery. Reece did a Mr. Rogers thing, Giant Goku, Ryan and the Spirit Bomb.
Leonard's always right.
Leonard's always right. That's a lot to work in. All right, well, you know what I always say. Just figure it out as you go. So, Butler, King Leonard's always right. Didn't rhyme. Didn't work. It worked, though. I love y'all. Talk to you soon. Super dope!